What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up? 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 I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for continuing to hold me down. You are the greatest audience on earth. Let's see, 200 billion is good to see. Yeah, I think that's dope. Yeah, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. So lots going on. Got a full show for you guys. I always like to see the stuff moving throughout the water. That's pretty dope. Good visibility of the city today. So everything is in good spirits. It was a great show last night for those of y'all that tuned in. Some of y'all tune in, some of y'all don't. Some of y'all prefer to only see the Millionaire Morning Show content. Others of you guys like to see it all. You like to see the foolery, the tomfoolery, the popular culture topics. And then you also maybe want to see the Millionaire Morning Show. But we got after hours tonight, all right? So we back at it after hours. I appreciate y'all. Let's get a little bit of the housekeeping out of the way before we get started. So first things first, just a couple of little announcements. So I've settled on a time that in the new year, right now we just kind of willy-nilly. It's December, it's the holiday time. It's coming up on Christmas, which basically means that, we can kind of take it off a little bit. We're making all of the capital investments. We got construction hopefully wrapping up soon this week, by the end of this week, inside of the studio. So we're going to be testing some things, looking at the cameras, looking at the lighting, looking at the settings, kind of trying to tweak some things so that we don't have, we want to kind of go into the new year with the new things absolutely excellent, all right? So a couple different announcements and housekeeping things as we move more into an official platform, right? This is official, but we want it to be 100% official. My goal and my vision for this channel is for it to absolutely positively be one of the best curated shows and to be at the top of the list of everybody that is looking for news, information, politics, money, everything, right? So we have to have a strenuous schedule, a set schedule, and a certain time that we push this thing through. And the time that we are going to start live streaming every day, starting in the new year, is 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Mountain, and 6 a.m. Pacific, okay? So basically 9 a.m. Eastern, and then adjust it for whatever time zone that you will have. We will be officially streaming every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, starting in the new year. and that is the time that we're setting. All right. So just giving y'all a little bit of an insight of what's going on. In addition to that, we will also be starting off what is the Room 9 channel will transition into something completely different. I also have a bunch of new shows that I'm going to be launching next year. So I'm just working on that and I'm curating that behind the scenes. I'm looking forward to you guys. I might not even be wearing black t-shirts anymore. Who knows? So growth, man, growth. It's gonna be growth, opportunity, and then we're gonna continue to push the show forward as the year goes by. We're gonna tweak some things, we're gonna see what works, we're gonna see what doesn't work, and then we're gonna make some adjustments. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to again take a second journey outside of corporate America, retiring for a second time. I'm not even gonna say I'm officially retired no more. Because who knows? Somebody can come with a crazy deal and then we can wind up being back in corporate America again. But I just want to say that I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I would suggest that you guys have that same mindset. And it don't have to necessarily be a YouTube channel. It don't have to necessarily be growth on content. It could just be in everything in your life. You know, we need to set better, more attainable goals and hit them. Hit them. Like hit the goals, actually meet those expectations. And break through. You know, every time I see people start these New Year's resolutions and they never commit to them, they never actually do anything. They forget about them by the time that they hit January, February, March. They get their tax return, and then all of a sudden, nobody pays attention to any New Year's resolutions. You know what I'm saying? So you have to condition yourself. You have to adjust to what you want. You got to dress for the job that you want. You got to actually make the capital investment in yourself and whatever it is that you got going on. If you start a new business, commit to it. Like block it off in your schedule and work on it every single day. Every day, work on it. Block it off. Hit that goal. Exceed expectations. Be better every year than you was the year before. Go back and look at all of your old stuff. Look at your old plans. See where you messed up. See where you failed. Make the adjustment. If you planning on quitting your job, and I'm not saying everybody got to quit their job, but if you planning on quitting your job going into, a year or 2 years from now, you need to be planning for that. Like you need to be putting yourself in a position financially. You need to be getting your companies together. You need to be working on whatever it is that you're transitioning into. Once you quit the job, like you actually have to be working on it. You got to create milestones every single month that you can go back and check and gauge where you are in that journey. You know what I'm saying? So I've even started to recalibrate some stuff. I really love having my place, which tomorrow morning you'll see me live streaming from somewhere else, but I really love penthouse apartment living. So much so to where I was planning on building this huge, huge house, but then I was thinking to myself, like, I'm not really even sure that would be, best for my lifestyle. But I don't know. I just recalibrating everything in my life. November going into December, December going into January. I create new goals based off of where I am in my life. And so had those conversations with your loved ones, had that conversation with the people that's close to you, and figure out what you want life to look like and then hit it every single day. All right. So that's just, a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon for those of you that are familiar with it and that is a part of Patreon. You know that Block Club is coming up. Not going to say nothing about it publicly, but if you in the Patreon and you got that notification, you know when Block Club is, we going to hit it. It's going to be popping. I'm already prepared for it. Got a new way in which I'm presenting it. It's going to be dope. If you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Shout out to Tiege Hanley. We appreciate you. And I want to acknowledge the people that support the platform. So shout out to ESDC on Cash App. And then shout out to my dog, Mike that dude on Cash App. I appreciate y'all. Let me read this super chat. And then we get started with the show. Camille always want to get y'all the Patreon level game. I'm going to limit it though. I'm going to limit it. Good day, AD. You said content creators are celebrities. Agreed. But why don't content creators understand that? And what's the solution to them knowing? I think that first of all, let's really put it in perspective. When I say celebrities, content creators are the new rappers, singers, actors, entertainers. Um, that's just the way that the you know what I'm saying, society and culture has went. Even people that are traditionally in those fields are all trying to transition into content creation. I've seen Don Lemon create a show that's basically a copycat of mine. Don Lemon basically created a show where he's basically doing a morning show every single day. That is basically a blueprint that I've already set forth. I see rappers. They all want to be streamers now. I see, you know, former athletes. They all got shows on the internet, right? When we used to be teased for having a YouTuber, or when you would say, "Hey, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a content creator," they would be like, "Oh, oh, that's cute." You know what I'm saying? They didn't know how much money we was getting. They was like, "Oh, that's cute." Now everybody want to do the same thing. It's funny. It's hilarious to see how things have transitioned. But we are, we are in our own respective right. And again, it's levels to this, right? So I would say locally, I have more visibility than I would internationally, right? We not Lady Gaga and them. Some of us are. You see the Kai Cenats, you see the I Show Speeds, you see some of those people, Aiden Ross. Those people are stratosphere, out of this world. Obviously, Mr. Beast, all of those type of people. But we are. I think some of us recognize it and others of us don't. The ones that actually recognize it, those are the ones that's actually growing. So it's a lot of content creators, but it's very few people that's actually celebrities. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to operate like you are. You have to start to have that mindset that you are. You got to stop being so Hollywood. And let me also suggest something to everybody else too. Be humble. I know when people first start getting them little bit of visibility, they think that they big dog and they could block people off and all of that other type of stuff. Oh, you Hollywood. That's the fastest way to get to fall off. The fastest way to fall off is to think that you something more than you really are. Remember, we regular people like everybody else. I don't even believe in fans. You know what I'm saying? I'm so grounded, and anybody that's ever met me in real life, I don't play that fan junk. I don't do none of that junk. You friends. I'm a regular person, just like everybody else, and I'm appreciative. I don't even like when people try to big me up in person because it's like, nah, fam, I love you too. We all in this together. I just so happen to have the microphone and I'm good at this, but you great at other things and you great at that. So I'm gonna celebrate you on this front. You celebrating me on this front. We friends. We ain't. Hey man, don't do that fan out junk on me. I love you. We cool in real life. So I got a different mindset. And I think that it's also because I had got it earlier. And then, you know what I'm saying? I was humbled as far as going broke. And then as I transitioned into content creation and I became really, really, really successful outside of YouTube, I've learned how to balance, you know what I'm saying, that ego. Like you can be super confident, yeah, I can take on anything and I could get rich and I could take over the world, but that don't mean that you have to treat people like trash when you're meeting them in person. So I just got you know what I'm saying, a different mindset of what success looks like. And again, if you've never met me in person, you may not know that. But there is not one person that has ever kicked it with me in person, came to a meetup, came to a show, ran into me on the street, and can say that I am not 100% about love. 100%. You have never heard, not one time in the entire time that I've ever been on the internet or had some visibility, there has never been anybody that has ever said that they met me in person or ran into me and I didn't stop my whole day and show them love because I genuinely care for people. So I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm with it. I love y'all, but y'all just got to realize that what comes with this is a lot more visibility. Your family might be online. You know what I'm saying? And maybe people that not like you, and maybe people that come into your chat and say negative things about it. I'm seasoned, so that stuff don't bother me. I like to interact with the chat because I think that it makes the show more entertaining. I look at y'all as my co-hosts, but I'm a little bit more seasoned, so that stuff don't affect me. A lot of people that get that new fame, they get new visibility. it go to their head, or they start getting extra, or they reading the comments every day. They think that they're going to crash out. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like that. So I've been blessed. I've been blessed enough to be able to allow for God to take me through it, so that now I'm in a space where I don't have to worry about the same things that everybody have to worry about mentally. You know what I'm saying? So we are content creators are the new people, you know, whether it be locally, nationally, whatever. They the new celebrities, and it's just the way that it is. All right, y'all. Shout out to my girl Camille, always asking them great questions. I appreciate you, Camille. And then let me read a couple more super chats and we'll get started with the show. T. Briggs says, good morning, AD. So disappointed in Q last night for not making sure Jazz was brought to the front of the congregation. She had one job. She was in the chat talking during the show. Justice must be served next week. Don't be so hard on Q. Q has a very, very unique job that she does well. And she curates the platform. She curates the topic. She curates the audience. Q is great at what she does. We love Q. Anton, 2025, morning, sir, back to college. Cybersecurity, took your advice, start January, blessings. I asked the question, would I listen to a rich man? Shout out to you, Levite Apparel. See it through. Now you got to see it through, all right? Again, I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. That's your reasonable service. That's your price of admission coming into the show. Also, on top of that, I would advise you guys, if you've been here more than once, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. It's going to be a great ride going into 2025. All right, Magnetar says, Anton, you lying. You just hit me with the 20-punch combo this morning just because my Bills beat the Lions. Just kidding. Shout out to Magnetar. I appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. Let's get started with a prayer, and then we get it popping with the show. Lord, word my mouth, guide my footsteps, bless everything that we do to be entertaining, edifying, and also beneficial to the listeners, to myself. And let this be a great way to continue to start our morning, to have positive energy, to help us get through our day, and then at the same time be able to add value into the people's lives and take something from this that's beneficial for everybody around us. I love you. I appreciate you. I ask nothing for your will to be done in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? Let's get started with the show, y'all. Got a full show for y'all. Quick Hits, all right? Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop on what's going on across the United States of America, all right? First things first, this couple, two people are accused and arrested of robbing a man of over $200,000 in jewelry and cash in Miami. Let's get to it.
A pair accused of robbing a man of hundreds of thousands of dollars in jewelry and cash are in jail tonight. Police say one of the suspects had lured the victim from another part of the state to a Miami Beach hotel. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister joins us from the jail where the suspects are being held.
Police say the victim started an online relationship with a woman on Instagram and that he drove all the way down from Gainesville to South Florida to meet her, only to be robbed.
The charge is armed robbery with a firearm or deadly weapon. You were arrested for armed robbery with a firearm or deadly weapon and making threats.
This judge right here, before we get to this story, this judge might as well just go ahead and get a judge show. I see this judge for every major case that's happening down in Florida for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just like the most famous judge inside of Miami or what, but this judge right here gotta be the most famous. This judge is doing themselves a disservice. Before we get to the ratchetness, this judge is doing herself a disservice by continuing to stay on the bench in Miami. She might as well go and get her own show, honest to God. She could make millions. I mean, millions just having a judge show. And I don't know why no studio haven't given her a show yet. Maybe I'll offer her a big deal. Who knows?
For extortion.
21-year-old Akura Stover and 33-year-old Deshaun Casey are facing serious charges after police say they committed a calculated crime.
Because armed robbery is considered a dangerous crime, I'm required by law to hold you with no bond.
According to police, Stover, a North Carolina native, was talking to a man from Gainesville online when they decided to meet up face-to-face on the 6500 block of Collins Avenue in Miami Beach on December 7th. And according to the arrest report, the victim and Stover, they were hanging out at this hotel behind me when police say things took a turn. They say that Stover put out a gun and then stole hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry from the victim. The report states Stover took approximately $200,000 worth of jewelry and $3,000 in cash from the victim. Investigators say Stover then hopped into a rideshare and was dropped off at 36th Street and Biscayne Boulevard, where police say she met Casey. The arrest report goes on to say that the victim received communications from defendant Casey, where he implicated himself in the robbery and tried to intimidate the victim into buying his stolen jewelry back. Both Stover and Casey were identified by the victim. Both were arrested on felony charges Monday. Their lawyers appeared in court on their behalf.
Good luck to you, ma'am. You have a good lawyer. Listen to what he tells you, all right?
All right. Thank you so much.
What have I been saying on the Anton Daniels channel all through Fight Club throughout the years about y'all getting involved with these chicks online, driving down? He put on his Sunday's best jewelry. He down there with $3,000 in cash so he can go down there and trick off on this chick. And the entire time, it's another dude. That's why I keep telling y'all that they label y'all in their phone as food. Your label in the phone as food. Either food for how they gonna take advantage of you and using you for your money, or food for some other dude that's basically telling her, hey, keep talking to him. Keep talking to him. Hey, have him come down. I keep telling y'all, I told y'all 1,000 times over 1,000 that y'all keep talking to these chicks, flying them in, driving down, got your $200,000 in jewelry, you got $3,000 in cash, you gonna go down there and take her to Poppy Steak or whatever it is that you're gonna do. You in Miami green. In Miami, look at this chick. Look at this. If this is not obviously a red flag, if this wasn't a sign from God that said, hey man, you don't want to go down there. You don't want to go down there. Man, look at what y'all chasing online. I see why these chicks is feeling entitled. I see why they out here feeling like, yeah, these dudes is tricks. They gonna give up all of the money because you down there with you drove to Miami. You know how far of a drive that is? Driving all the way down there to Miami to go trick off on a chick, thinking you gonna get some box. And then some dude tried to extort you to be able to buy your jewelry back. You a sucker. Y'all amazing to me. Anyways, see, this is why this is a different type of morning show. We gonna do it official, you know what I'm saying? But we still gonna keep the same sentiment, the same mindset, still holding y'all accountable. Then they want to say, Anton, you always want to de-police. No, I'm trying to keep your jewelry, keep your life, and keep your money in your pocket, but you so busy trying to pay for box. I met her, I DM'd her online. Okay, all right, keep doing what you do. And we gonna absolutely positively keep on looking at you, looking at being the fool. Anyways, moving on, another sucker getting caught with trafficking. A straight up pimp was shooting at a dude after his chick got away from him, and this dude tattoos his name on his women, and now he's facing over 15 years in prison. Check it out.
This is Winston Burt, who also went by the name Dice Capone, a Seattle pimp now facing 15 years in prison for his actions in November 2022 when he started shooting at an Uber driver.
I'm just running for my life, and he started opening fire at me.
And that Uber driver shot back.
I'm a, what you call that, concealed weapon for me. And I protected myself. I returned fire. Because he was, oh, this is crazy. And that got him off there. I thought we lost him.
According to police, Burt was sex trafficking women on Aurora Avenue in Seattle. One of the women told him she no longer wanted to work for him, so he beat her up, pistol whipped her, and held her against her will in a house in South Seattle. The woman jumped out of a window, but Burt and other women caught her, then drove her to North Aurora. A surveillance camera captured what happened next. The woman begging for help in the middle of the road as Burt's SUV circled around. And that's when the Uber driver picked her up and sped off.
And all of a sudden I was driving and I saw her getting beat up. She said, open the door. I did. And she said, take her to the hospital.
Nobody was shot during the rolling gun battle. The Uber driver was able to get the victim to safety. She testified in court against her former pimp. Prosecutors say Burt made his girls tattoo his name, Dice Capone, on their faces.
I just hope that no one has to endure what I went through ever again, because it's not no one should ever have to go through that.
A judge imposed a sentence of just shy of 15 years for these state charges. But this is not the end of the legal road for Winston Burt. He also pleaded guilty to federal sex trafficking charges, and he's scheduled to be sentenced on that sometime early next year.
Federal sex trafficking. Don't y'all realize that all of this gorilla pimping, all of this life that y'all keep thinking that y'all about, all of this extra, this weekend, some of y'all may be familiar, some of y'all was at the show. I had a homegirl of mine who I plan on doing a show with coming up earlier this year. Not gonna say her name or nothing, but she was on the stage for, Let's Rant About It when we was in Detroit. And she said something to the extent of, like, you've been in the house all this time, or, I want to see your roster, or I want to see this and that. There's never been a better time, and she wasn't expecting what my response gonna be, but y'all gonna see that video later. There's never been a better time to be a lame. Let me say it again. There's never been a better time for somebody to call you a lame. Never. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth and say, no, man, listen, this is what I done did. I'm really certified. I'm in the street. No. I'm a lame. I'm in the house. You see me? Somebody said, Anton always doing shows on the internet. What makes y'all think that he got a lot going on? I don't have nothing going on. There has never been a better time to not be in the streets. You was there, DJ Ace. I don't get involved in nothing that y'all got going on. At the end of the day, when you sitting here typing with no avatar because they didn't send you a camera phone in the package that they smuggled into prison that you're watching the show on, and you just got to type, and you got to type tough inside of the chat, I welcome that. I'm okay with that. You know why? Because I am nice and safe and free. When this show is over, I'll go down to the local coffee shop. I'll probably head to Starbucks. I might have a bagel. Who knows? I have the freedom to do what I want to do. He's facing 15 years from the state, and he's going to be sentenced for trafficking from the feds. Never let nobody shame you out of your freedom or your bag. Never let nobody shame you out of your freedom and your bag. I've learned within this culture that being called lame, or being called a house dude, or being called a Republican, or being called a person that has only been with one girl for the majority of their life, I've learned that is a compliment. I don't take that as a slight. I take that as a compliment. Usually it's coming from somebody that's about to do 15 to 20. Anyways, and then last but not least in quick hits, Disney. Disney is now agreeing to pay $223 million in back settlement for wage theft. Check it out.
And developing news, a Disneyland worker responding tonight to a record settlement following allegations of wage theft at the happiest place on earth. Disney has agreed to fork over more than $230 million in back pay to tens of thousands of employees. Fox 11's Christy Fajardo.
Look. Hold on. I like interacting with the chat. Give me a second. Look at him. Look at this guy right here. Let me show y'all something. Look at Reggie Red. Y'all. Reggie Red says, this ninja really wish he was white, bro. Reggie Red is the personification of a Dusty. He is one of the people that I like to use as an example. When did becoming intelligent, being focused, not getting in trouble, and not going to jail become a white thing? Before we get into the happiest place on earth, when did not getting into trouble, keeping your nose clean, having your freedom, and not walking around with any diseases, no venereal diseases, when did that become a white thing? You see how we programmed y'all? You see how ignorant we are? You see how dumb that we are? Do you see the type of men that's available for women and that is on these apps that's shooting y'all shot in y'all DMs and telling y'all, hey man, I'm a good man? When did it become white to make smart decisions for your children? When did we ever mention anything about white or black in this conversation? Do you see why y'all children can't go to school with their children? Do you see why I don't want my daughter in the same classroom as your son? Because when your son go home, this is the type of ignorance that he got to experience. So then when my daughter say, ooh, teacher, I know the question, your son say, you a lame. Separate yourselves. We're the only culture, black people in particular, is the only culture that feel entitled to be a part of everything just because of the color of your skin. I'ma just tell y'all, white people separate themselves from trash white people. Asian people separate themselves from trash Asian people. They absolutely, please, do never feel as though you have to stay inside of a culture and be obligated to prove yourself to people like this. Remember that. Separate yourself. You do not have to accept being a part of the Dusty gang. This guy right here, he couldn't get past my security. He would never be able to get past my concierge. They would arrest him on sight. I'm sorry, sir. What are you doing here? Yeah, we profile. And you should too. We profile. When we see people like Reggie Red riding down our street, we call the police immediately and have him pulled over, stop and frisk. Because we already know that he has something on him that he's not supposed to have. Either got that Fenty on him, got an unregistered pistol on him. He's part of Black Lives Matters and he don't have no driver's license. Driving on a suspended license, no insurance. The front of the bumper is falling off. Probably got 3 baby mamas, thinking that he really did something because he was getting boxed. Couple different STDs that's incurable, no health care coverage, no education, dead out the wazoo. And he probably, is mad because his boss at Amazon is going to fire him. You have to separate yourself from these dusty dudes. You have to. I'm sure he's probably still trying to be a rapper, spitting them lyrics. A hot 43 years old, still talking about, oh, you think you white, hasn't grown up. Stay with a chick that is on Section 8. Come on, y'all. Listen, we gonna have to start profiling. We can't keep letting these people be dusty in front of us and thinking that it's okay to not shame them. Y'all gonna have to shame these people. These people are some of the dustiest ever. Ever. They are dusty. Dusty, you got to start shaming them. They don't qualify to insult you. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all gonna have to realize that you are the kings and queens and you are literal royalty. Do you know that these people don't qualify to be able to shake your hand, but we oblige them because we're nice? You're going to have to start shaming these people and helping them to understand that you are at the bottom rung. Nobody cares about what you think. You saying anything to me is an insult to me for listening to you. And one of the reasons why you're watching me and I'm not watching you, and then I'm sitting here insulting not only you, but your entire lineage. Your parents are disappointed in you. Your mother don't like you. Your father wish he never had you. Your children don't know you. Your children will be in debt. Your children will be asking my children for a job. Your kid is going to ask my kid for a job one day. And she will have sympathy for you. She will have a soft heart. And she will invite you into the mailroom to go and sort the mail and make sure that she got her fries hot on time. You're going to have to understand that you're not in a position to talk to me. I am royalty. You are a peasant. You are a court jester. You speak in emojis. You speak emoji. I don't talk emoji. My text messages have full sentences. You speak emojis with no periods and no commas. What makes you think that you are in the same bracket to even be able to walk down the same street as me? Bro, if you was walking down the same street as me, my security would tell you to get across the street now or else. And I wouldn't even say nothing. I would say, hey man, let him breathe, let him walk. You speak emoji, dog. You are a 13-year-old in a 45-year-old body doing Uber Eats, and you better have my food here on time and hot, or I'm going to give you a bad rating, and they're not going to let you deliver Uber Eats anymore. I'm going to give you a bad rating. You've never opened up a business. You've never actually funded anything or put anybody to work. You've never put any money in anybody's pocket. You've only been a nuisance. You're a social science experiment, bro. You're nothing but the dirt on the bottom of my shoe. I see you and then I don't see you anymore. Like, you're erased from my memory. You're not memorable. Nobody will remember your name. When you die, they're going to cremate you and nobody is going to ever think about your ashes. Nobody is going to pay for your funeral. They're going to have a fish fry just to bury you and they'll never remember you again in your life. You should really rethink what your life is before you ever feel the need to insult kings and queens that is changing the trajectory of how people think, influencing culture, and putting money in people's pockets. Bro, if you was gone tomorrow, nobody would check for your location. Nobody asks you for your Find My. Nobody wants to know where you at. The only reason they want to know where you at is to know where they're not going to be. Nobody checks for your Find My. Think about that for a minute. If nobody cares about you, if nobody is trying to check your location, if nobody is asking for your stats on Fitness Plus because they're trying to compete against you for the best version of themselves, if nobody is actually asking you, do you want something to eat today? Because they don't care about your well-being, if nobody is checking on you, bro, you are nothing. You are but a vapor. Your only relevance, listen, this is the highlight of your life. Think about this for a minute. This will be the best moment of your life. You finally got somebody that is relevant to acknowledge you and say, you know what? You are culturally relevant to be used as an example of what not to do. Your name is Reggie Red with 2 D's. You don't even have a LinkedIn profile. You don't have a LinkedIn profile. You got a picture in your minivan, dog. And the top of your profile picture ceiling is dirty. You drive a 1992 Ford Explorer, the ones where the tires was being recalled to Firestone tires, and they had to sue the company. You still trying to put rims on your car. You still think that Dayton's is popping. You can't go on vacation tomorrow because you still got to go to work. And if you don't pay your bills, your cell phone is going to get called. You a Metro PCS phone having nothing. You're a nothing to me. Nothing. I see you on the street every day. I pass you by and I pray for you because I feel sorry for your family. I feel sorry for the person that had you. You're nothing. You're absolutely but a vapor to me. Absolutely not. The only thing I want you to do is make sure the Armor All on my tires is covering everything. Don't miss no Armor All on my tires. And I'm going to tip you good. And you're going to eat good for the day. Just remember that. Delete your profile, dog. Start over. Have a different mindset and then come in and approach me with respect. And stop thinking that speaking well or being able to articulate yourself effectively is white. That's called being an American, being human. All right? Okay, Pumpkin? All right. Let's get back to Disney. I don't want to distract y'all. Listen, the chat is my code. If you feel the need to jump off the bridge, I might make an example of you. Don't say nothing if you don't want no responses. I like the chat. I think that the chat is awesome. God bless. And stick around. Make sure you subscribe, hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. All right, let's continue. Disney, 233 million. We're gonna continue.
And developing news, a Disneyland worker responding tonight to a record settlement following allegations of wage theft at the happiest place on earth. Disney has agreed to fork over more than $230 million in back pay to tens of thousands of employees. Fox 11's Christy Fajardo has more.
Say thank you.
Have a good
Happy
day.
kids and happy parents at Disneyland shell out big bucks for a holiday memory.
The tickets were like $860.
That's why some are disappointed to learn the resort has just agreed to what is believed to be the largest wage theft settlement in state history. $233 million, covering roughly 50,000 past and current employees.
That is upsetting. And every corporation should pay, their dues.
Even now, about people choosing, to pay bills or to get food.
Michael Levier has been working for Disneyland for 16 years and says he has coworkers who live in their cars. That's why they celebrated when the voters of Anaheim approved Measure L, which raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour starting in 2019 for companies that get tax rebates from the city. But he says the raise never came. Instead, Disney argued for 5 years the corporation was exempt because it no longer had any tax rebate deals with Anaheim.
They claimed that the $300 million Mickey and Friends parking lot deal that had started in 1997 didn't qualify. They still get a tax benefit from that. Ultimately, the Court of Appeals and the California Supreme Court rejected Disney's argument.
In a statement, a Disneyland spokesperson wrote, quote, "We are pleased that this matter is nearing resolution. Currently, all cast members make at least the Measure L requirement of $19.90 per hour. And in fact, 95% of them make more. A judge still has to approve the settlement, but on average, employees are expected to get back pay and interest in the sum of about $3,600. It's a big payday for Levier, and
The lawyers are the ones that's going to make the majority of the money from the settlement. The lawyers are the ones that's going to make the majority of the money. When I see grown men like this, right, sitting here and saying that they don't like what's going on with Disney and so on and so forth. I've always understood that amusement park workers, as a matter of fact, us here in Detroit, we always go down to Cedar Point, and we've always looked at Cedar Point as like a summer job for like people that come home from school or, whatever it is that you're working for. We've always looked at like Cedar Point as like summer jobs. At some point, man, listen, I get it. You want Disney to pay more. You think that large corporations should be paying more. Disney make an egregious amount of money. It costs a gajillion dollars to go to Disney World. I've been there, I think 2 or 3 times at this point. Cool. Listen, man, I'm not about to sit there and wait for a company to give me something 5 years from now and be sleeping in my car. I got to make an adjustment. I got to make a move. I got to shoot a move. I got to go move to a different city, go and get a different job, go back to school, do something. This is the land of opportunity, and I am not waiting on Disney to give me anything. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hit. Sherelle, you crazy. Shout out to Reggie Red. I like Reggie Red. Let me give Reggie Red a round of applause. The source of my inspiration today. Reg, you see this? Look, let me show you something, Reg. See all of that? That's beautiful. That is a beautiful place to be in. Let me go to panoramic. Don't go all the way around. See all of that, Reg? See all of that? See, it goes all the way past that? Reg, this is a beautiful place to be in, man. It's a beautiful place to be in, bro. Reg, you are my source of inspiration. When I look out and I say, thank you, Jesus, I think about you. I think about you, bro. Seriously. It's great. It's a great space to be in, bro. Woo! Look at life. Anyways, y'all ready to get started with the show? Let me read some of these. I wasn't even going to wear this. Let me put my Apple Watch on. Because I know that this is a little bit much for you. I wasn't even going to wear this today. It's the 17th. Yeah, we got the date right. I wasn't going to wear this. You see, this is rose gold. See that? See that crown? See that bracelet? Put my Apple Watch on. No niggas be getting frisky. I didn't want to rob me. First day I put my watch back on. I've been wearing my Apple Watch for like 3 weeks now. Trying to get my steps in, trying to get my fitness on. There we go. We back. More your speed. Well, this is the Apple Watch Ultra. So this might be a little bit too expensive. This is more your speed though, Reg. We good. We good. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all can check Carrie on the show tonight. Carrie gonna be on After Hours. What up, Carrie? Oh man, life is crazy out here in these streets. You know what I think about you, Reg? That's what I think about you. I think about you, Reg. That's what I think about you. Anyways, let me continue. Y'all slowing me down. Y'all slowing me down. I got to do my show. Y'all got me throwing money at my camera. I don't like that. I don't like that. See this, Reg? See what this is called? This is a Sapphire Reserve. See how worn this card is? I swipe this all day long with no limits. Just be swiping. Swiper, no swipey. That's what they call me. Swiper, no swipey. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get started with the show? Swiper, no swipey. You see this? See what they call me? They call me Platinum. Platinum Time. That's what they call me. They call me Platinum Time in the building. We not the same. We not the same. All right. Forget Reg. We got to get on with the show. Let me read some of the super chats and we gonna continue on with the show. High Tolerance says, good morning, AD. Much love to you and the Bag Chasers. I know Detroit was a vibe. It was dope. Vibe and a half. We'll be at the next locale. Just got back from MIA this morning, dropping off the Twomp on my flyby. Shout out to High Tolerance. I appreciate you, big dog. Christopher Mayberry says, Rob and her phone stood for robbery, not facts. You know what I'm saying? Anton, can we get a panel on Thursday or Friday nights? Anton, can we get a panel on Thursday or Friday nights? What do you mean a panel? We do after hours on Thursday and Friday nights. We already got a panel. Chris Cunningham says, pimping ain't easy. Getting 15 years. That prostitute says, I don't want the cake, Ike. Man. Shout out to my dog, Ray Sean, in the building. He was there. He was in the audience, killing it, running up a bag. So Scooby CC says, I'm with you, AD. I get judged as well for being conservative. I'm not going to jail no more. Ain't nobody going to jail for y'all. Somebody get Reggie out of the piano. What y'all know about that? DJ Berserk says, Reggie said, you white because you didn't fight for my booty. Oh, man, this is crazy. Rush King 19 says, people only call others lames because they want you to suffer how they do. I've gotten in trouble, and the money I spent to get out of trouble could have been used on myself or to invest. Never again. So you're a smart one. We vetting people all 2025, and we shaming too. Reggie drives an Ultimate without his front grill. Hey, Reg, let me show something. Let me just show something. Because I promise y'all, we are going to do a whole show. We're going to get to the full show today. Reg, you know how much my teeth cost? Look at that. It's crazy. See that? White gums, healthy, no gingivitis. See this? See all of that? See how great my dentist and my orthodontist and my oral surgeon is? I have a concept. Let me stop. I don't want to do this. Don't blame me. Blame Reg. Don't blame me. Blame Reg. Crazy. Look at this. Look at all of that. See that? No cavities. No gingivitis. No none of that. See all of that? That's crazy, ain't it? Ain't never seen that before. Ain't never seen that before. It's crazy, ain't it? I gotta finish these super chats. All right. Jerry, what up to my girl? Jerry says, what does it even mean to act or want to be white? Because I want a better life. People just be saying anything. I feel you, Jerry. Real talk. The Millionaire Derailment Show is in full effect. You know we gonna get derailed. AD, chill. No. Dang, AD, you over. No. High Tolerance says, work release Reggie Red might be the product of a test tube baby. I used to hear about test tube. What happened to test tube babies? No Excuse Lifestyle Rocky K says, speaking from experience, not pan-sagging, speaking proper English and no criminal record means white. By that logic, he's actually insulting black people, to be honest. Salute to you, AD. Listen, we gonna hold him accountable. And okay, Anton, let's not crash out. Crash out how? Reggie got to delete the Reg, they on your heels. AD is on Reggie's heels. Anthony Wright Network says, AD, don't do it to him. I'll make you famous. I will make you famous. AD stood over Reg Bobby and gave it a kick to make sure he out. Amen01 says, AD, yeah, that's crazy. All because standards and morals and being mentally superior. Hashtag bag chasers for life. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. He's going to be cremated and they going to forget about his ashes. It's wild. Bro, the insults are so detailed because I know these type of people. Reggie has left the building. Is Reg still in the chat? For the Reggie Reg College Fund, because mine is a terrible thing to waste. More Knowledge says, I look up to seeing Anton throwing dollars at the screen, almost died. I don't even tip in dollars. I tip in fives. I don't have no dollars. I tip in fives now. What's good, AD Chasers, co-host of chat, Dusty Squares Lames, and Reggie. Anton messing up Reggie like Eddie Murphy and the Nutty Professor. This is what happens when you press the red button. Just leave me alone. Marcus L. Balt. Shout out to Marcus in the building. Don't overthink this. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Godson77 says, Anton, after last night, you have to enforce a 2-show ban on panelists who go hard before the facts and then are a no-show when it's time for accountability in the facts. This is all Q's fault. No more excuses. Says, good morning, AD. It was good seeing you this past weekend. Definitely a humble and a down-to-earth person. Shout out to everybody that support the platform. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to hold me down. All right, we can't get distracted. We got to get back to the show. I appreciate y'all. I'll be reading super chats throughout the show. We only gonna spend 10 minutes on this next subject. A Russian nuclear defense force minister over in Moscow was killed by Ukrainians from an e-scooter. Check it out.
Breaking overnight, a senior Russian military official has been killed in an explosion in Moscow. Ukrainian security sources tell CBS News that they were behind this assassination. Officials in Russia say Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov and his assistant died after an explosive device on a scooter detonated near an apartment building. For more on this, we're joined by CBS News reporter Haley Ott. Haley, what can you tell us about what happened?
Good morning, Errol. Yes, Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov was the head of Russia's nuclear and chemical defense forces. And investigators say he and his assistant were killed near the entrance of an apartment building in Moscow this morning by a bomb, which was hidden in an electric scooter. Russian state media says the bomb had the power of about 300 grams of TNT and was detonated by remote control. Jeez. Now, Kirillov and the unit he headed were under sanctions by a number of countries, including the U.S. and the U.K., for the use of chemical weapons on the battlefield in Ukraine. And just yesterday, he was charged in absentia there. Ukraine security services saying it's recorded around 4,800 uses of chemical weapons by Russia since its full-scale invasion in February 2022. In particular, from grenades, which are equipped with toxic substances and then dropped on Ukrainian troops from drones. Ukrainian security sources have told CBS News that Ukraine's SBU was behind the attack, killing Kirillov in a, quote, special operation and calling him a war criminal and a legitimate target. Russia has called the bombing a terrorist act. Errol?
All right.
So, what's happening over in Russia or Ukraine and Russia, because we don't really get reports from what's happening inside of Ukraine anymore. I remember reading a detailed account of what was happening over in Ukraine. And a lot of people are so privileged here in the United States of America that they don't know what it's like to have war on their own soil. I remember reading a report that was basically saying that when Russian troops was severely occupying Ukraine, and this is why I'm so against this current administration, this Biden-Harris administration, and the Democrat Party that are basically architects of war, in my opinion. I remember reading and going into a detailed account of how when Russian troops was inside of Ukraine, that obviously they would go door to door and they were killing most of the men or taking them hostage and removing them, and they didn't care about the wives or the daughters or anything like that. And so right now what you see over in Ukraine is there's a lot of women that are actually having Russian babies because they were basically taking advantage of the women, doing them, using them. Obviously, they weren't using a condom. They wasn't worried about contraception whatsoever, but they were using that as a way to continue to keep the troops motivated because it was likely that they were going to die, or they didn't know when they were going to die, or they were starving. And so in order to keep the troops motivated, they were over there using the women as punching bags and as footstools, both physically and emotionally. And they were basically impregnating the women. And if they didn't kill them, then they were going to just let them have their babies and leave them to be. So a lot of people are not familiar with what happens in these wars because the only thing that you see is what happens from the national media. But there are reports and there are deep dives as to how the women or how the lineage is completely changed from what's happening over in Ukraine, which again, this feeds more into why I am so against the war, because the ones at the top that order the troops on the ground, which that is ultimately a last resort, and why I voted, part of the reason why I'm a Republican now and why I stand for the Republican Party is because they don't believe in war. People just keep saying, oh man, Ukraine got to fight them or whatever. That's because you're not out there. That's because you're not familiar with what the face of war is. You watch a movie, you watch Give Us Free, and you think that you oppressed. No, real suffering and real oppression is happening throughout the world, and it's all for profit. It is all for profit. It is completely avoidable, and it is all for profit.
Breaking overnight, the leader of Russia's nuclear protection forces killed in a bombing in Moscow. Russian officials say the bomb was hidden inside an electric scooter and detonated remotely outside an apartment building today. The Russian general was wanted by Ukraine for using chemical weapons. A source with knowledge of the operation telling CNN Ukraine's security service was behind the assassination. Max Foster joins us live now from London with more on this. Max, good morning. A remarkable event here. Tell us more about who this general is and why the Ukrainians wanted to do this.
Well, what a brazen assassination on the streets of Moscow, just 4 miles from the Kremlin, a remote-controlled bomb planted on an electric scooter.
How did they know that he was going to be riding a scooter is what I'm trying to understand. That's the part that I'm trying to figure out is like, how did they know that that was his scooter? Was it a Lime scooter? How did they know? And how did they get so deep into Moscow to where they were able to actually plant that bomb? You know what I'm saying? I want to know the details. Don't just give me the propaganda. Don't just give me the cover story. I want to know the details of what happened and how they were able to get to this guy outside of an apartment building. And they knew that he was going to be the one that ride the scooter.
They got their man because very quickly we heard from sources within Ukraine that this was a revenge attack.
Oh, shout out to Red.
This was
Reggie Red
a general who ran the forces
Stick around, big dog. I know you subscribe.
Look after the nuclear weapons, the chemical weaponry. And the Ukrainians had very clearly accused him specifically of ordering the use of chemical weapons effectively on the battlefield against the Ukrainian military. So they targeted him, they got him just 4 miles from the Kremlin, as I say. So a massive breach of security for the Russians. We await to hear their response. But you could call it a triumph for the Ukrainians, but there will be a response as well to this.
Of course there's going to be a response.
Well,
Somebody got to pay for this.
Max, I mean, this is an intriguing time, I suppose, for Russia, considering, of course, the fall of Assad in...
I know that he wasn't riding a scooter. I'm exaggerating the situation. What I'm saying is, how do they have Ukrainians, or is it paid people, or what is going on? Like, I want to know the details of the attack in general. How did they know that he was going to be walking by that particular spot? How did they know when to detonate it? How did they know it was actually him? Who was watching him at the time? Do they have Ukrainian spies or spies from the United States of America? Who was over in Russia? How did they get so deep into Moscow? That's my whole point. My point is that this is not something that they just randomly stumbled upon, right? This is something that was planned extremely well, meticulously from people that obviously were pros at what they do. I want to know the details. I don't want to just hear the surface level, oh man, he was killed by a scooter attack. How?
In Syria, where, of course, Russians were, they've given him
correct 4 miles
asylum there, and
that's crazy.
Putin making an appearance in public without even mentioning what was going on there. Really, in many ways, an embarrassment for them and potential security problems, since they have access to a warm water port through Syria. Now something like this, and to have the Ukrainians talking about it in public, it seems like Putin is under some pressure, no?
Certainly. I mean, Syria was, Russia's only base, really, a reliable base within the Middle East. They've still got their military installations there. I'm sure there's some negotiation going on between the Syrian regime, as it is now, and the Russians about protecting those assets, whether or not they'll be able to stay. But losing, under major pressure within Syria, in the Middle East, also clearly under pressure in Ukraine. They have been pretty successful, though, on the battlefield.
Because you got to remember that this guy allegedly was the guy that was in charge of everything nuclear related, overseeing artillery, all of that type of stuff. So this wasn't just like a regular general or lieutenant or somebody that was high rate. Like he was that guy. You know what I'm saying? He was that guy. And this is 4 miles away from the Kremlin. I think that Russia is probably just biding his time. How do we know that Russia themselves didn't look at him as a traitor, or they were disappointed in the job that he was doing, and that it's not made to look like Ukrainians are doing this, and this is actually from the inside of Russia, that they were the ones that actually set this off? How do we know this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've learned, especially when it comes to a lot of these reports on international fights and international war, I've learned to start questioning everything, to not just believe, take it into consideration, but not just believe everything that's presented to you on the surface right away. I don't believe that it was just that simple. Oh my God, they sent Jason Bourne in. You know that guy on it was I think it was Russell Crowe and Jamie Foxx. And it was a movie where they were saying that the guy, they call him in when they want to have somebody killed and all of that, and somebody had wound up killing his family or something, and he came back and he wound up torturing them, and then he started chasing Jamie Foxx and all of that stuff. One of my favorite movies. I didn't like the ending. I thought the ending was absolutely trash, but that was one of my favorite movies. It sounds like he was one of the people that was in there that was taking care of the business on there.
Forward on those front lines. So they've been claiming triumphs on the battle in Ukraine, but this is a major blow, a big embarrassment, which it does show some vulnerability to think that you could attack anyone in central Moscow as a Ukrainian agent. It's pretty extraordinary, let alone
it's a great movie, Law-Abiding Citizen.
A top general who was specifically targeted.
Right. Well, and I mean, those electric scooters, they're all over cities around the world. I mean, what a sort of sinister use of that technology. But of course, all this, coming as the Russians are scrambling to take territory in Ukraine ahead of President-elect Donald Trump coming into office, and Zelensky mounting a charm offensive to try to win him over. Quite a complicated battlefield, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't believe everything that's just on the surface. 4 miles away from the Kremlin, I don't believe everything that's on the surface. So, again, I'm just reporting the news on this one. We can put our conspiracy theory hats on and evaluate different things. But ultimately, I just think that war is not necessarily about territory. It's not necessarily about rights. It's always about money. Some way, shape, or form, it always comes back down to money. We're not battling for Taiwan because, we want to secure or really be against China. We battling for Taiwan because they're the semiconductor chip capital of the world. You know what I'm saying? It always comes back down to money somehow, some way. So that is what's happening between the Russia and the Ukraine war. Occasionally, I want to keep y'all up to date on certain things that hit the news as probably big news. Scooby CC says, send us to Reggie Miller, that is. Mr. Campbell says, I was talking about another panel like Q has on Monday nights, but with Quentin, Slimmy, Mika, carrying yourself. Yeah, we do it. We do it on Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays. On After Hours. Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays. We do it on After Hours. If y'all not subscribed to After Hours, we popping off tonight. Dang, Anton, you should make a compilation of going off on Dusty's, call it Dusty Dialogues. I remember some of these insults from when I go off on the Dusty. Shout out to Romel Doug. Meanwhile, Biden is curled up with his blanket and slept the night away and sleep good. I wonder if these people be thinking to themselves, I got a special place in hell for some of the stuff that I've done on my time on this earth. Do you think that these people think that they going to hell? Shout out to Reggie Red says, it's just jokes, bro. It's all good. See, Reggie know how to take a joke. The people over here on the Millionaire Morning Show and Rock Out with Anton Daniels, they not sensitive. The way that they dish it is the way that they take it. They not tripping at all. We are thick-skinned, and the same way that you dish it is the way that they take it. Ain't nobody tripping. Everybody love everybody. Shout out to Reggie Red being able to take a joke. Ash in the building says, AD, you speak facts. Watching the war on TV is nothing like the real thing. In 2024, one of our military Humvee during a convoy got hit by a roadside IED. I was in a rear gun truck, which remained behind to assist. Trust me, it was no joke. Hey, thank you for your service. Thank you to all of our military members. Thank you to everybody that show up and do the bidding of the federal government. And not necessarily even knowing what they're doing, but they just hope that they're doing it for the right reasons. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Shout out to my dog Ash and everybody that's a part of what it is that's happening in the United States of America, keeping us safe. Mr. Campbell says, I was talking about with other people as well besides y'all. I don't know if I got the capacity to do another one. Big dog. All right, y'all. Let's continue. Shout out to Reggie Red for being able to take a joke and everybody in the chat for ribbing him a little bit, but we got there. Let's get into Trump. So Trump and Softbank. I kind of gave y'all a preview of what was to come with the breaking news yesterday about the fact that Softbank was announcing that they were investing $100 billion in the United States of America and hopefully creating at least 100,000 new jobs. So for everybody, for example, that was sitting there whining and complaining and was saying, oh, no. All of the jobs are going to go and Trump are going to drain the jobs and jobs in America. Well, before he even hits the ground, before he's even inaugurated on January 20th, we already have an announcement with the SoftBank CEO that's saying that they want to invest in the United States of America. And what Trump was saying is that, listen, we got to stop exporting jobs outside of the United States and inviting foreign investment into the United States because we want the money to circulate and to remain here and not just go outside. We want foreign partners, but we want them to come in and do it the right way. But here was the caveat. Trump hit him with the ooh-wop shebang. Trump didn't just say, hey, listen, this is the announcement. He also executed on the art of the deal. Check it out.
President-elect Trump is speaking at Mar-a-Lago right now. He's expected to announce a new $100 billion investment in the U.S. from Japanese company Softbank. Let's listen in.
A couple of points. We'll take some questions later if you'd like. I'm sure you might have one or two. I'd be shocked if you didn't. I'd be very impressed. But I'm honored to welcome one of the most accomplished business leaders of our time, the founder and CEO of Softbank, everybody knows, Masa Yoshi-san. Masa runs one of the largest companies in Japan and among the most successful investment and technology companies anywhere in the world, one of the most successful investors in the world. And we've just concluded a very productive meeting, and today I'm thrilled to announce that Softbank will be investing $100 billion in America, creating 100,000 American jobs at a minimum. And he's doing this because he feels very optimistic about our country since the election. And many other people are also coming in with tremendous amounts of money. You probably noticed that a poll was just taken. It's business is literally in 39 years, there's been nothing like it. It's been the biggest increase. Small business owners gave it a 41% jump. It's the biggest jump that we've had in 39 years. And nobody's ever seen anything like it. And it's just they're very optimistic. This historic investment is a monumental demonstration of confidence in America's future, and it will help ensure that artificial intelligence, emerging technologies, and other industries of tomorrow are built, created, and grown right here in the USA. One of the beautiful things about Masa is he's very much involved with emerging technology, probably knows it maybe better than almost anybody. So it's a great honor. And some of you remember after the 2016 election, also Softbank committed to invest $50 billion in our country, and they did. And are very pleased to say that they kept that promise in every way, shape, and form. And now they're looking to do 100. And I've looked at their books. They do have the possibility of doing more. I'm going to ask them to do a little bit more. But first, I'm going to ask him to speak and just to say a few words. Masa, please. Thank you.
Hey, listen to what he said. Let me back it up for y'all real quick. Watch this. Listen to this.
Looked at their books. They do have the possibility. They're looking to do 100. And I've looked at their books. They do have the possibility of doing more. I'm going to ask them to do a little bit more. But
Trump said, I looked at their books. You know, the reason why I wanted to get the longer form content, and I always try to source longer form content, and not just go based off of whatever the news headlines is, or what CNN says, or what MSNBC says, or even what Fox News says, or ABC says, or any of these places. I think that those are great sources of content also, but I like to look for the actual announcement itself. And the reason that is because the context matters. The context matters. This is the difference between somebody who truly is an acting president, even if they haven't gotten inaugurated yet on January 20th. But he said, listen, I looked at their books. I think they could do a little bit more, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. Let me go ahead. I know the Softbank CEO was a little nervous. I know he was a little nervous, but we're going to get there.
First, I'm going to ask him to speak and just to say a few words. Masa, please. Thank you.
And he waited until he got him on the spot, too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very, very excited. I would really like to celebrate the great victory of President Trump. And my confidence level to the economy of the United States has tremendously increased with his victory. So because of that, I'm now excited to commit this $100 billion and 100,000 jobs.
Now, remember this, right? Because it's not just him saying, listen, I want to give $100 billion or I want to commit to investing. It's investing, which means that they're looking to get a return on their investment, which is fair. You know, you put $100,000 jobs inside of the U.S., you're going to be paying payroll taxes, putting money into the economy. We would like for you to get a return on your investment. And the reason that he feels comfortable putting $100 billion into the U.S. economy is because he committed to doing 50 the last time, and he did so. He actually executed on that the last time that Trump was in office. So business relationships, staying focused. And another point that's important to take from this is that, again, and I've been emphasizing this a lot, is that other countries pay just as much, if not more, attention to what's happening in the U.S. politics as the American citizens. Other countries, business leaders, pay attention to who's going to become president of the United States of America just as much, if not more, than the American citizens. So while they were sitting there trying to have y'all have a conversation about reproductive rights, foreign companies and people outside was looking and saying, hey, man, I'm trying to figure out if we're going to be able to get inside of the United States of America. Are they going to get tough on their borders? Are we going to have to do it the right way? Is it going to be a business environment that's conducive for investment? What is happening? So everything matters. And having somebody that has business acumen is much more important than lifetime politicians.
Into the United States. This is double of last time, as President Trump said. Because I say, oh, President Trump is a double down president. I'm going to have to double down, $100 billion and 100,000 jobs. This is, my confidence level, because that has doubled down. So I am truly excited to make this happen. And of course, business is important, technology is important. But one more thing I'm really hoping is that this President Trump would make the world, bring the world into peace again. That's my additional hope.
Let me tell you another reason why this is happening. And people are not putting the pieces together because they're so shallow, right? It's because Trump is saying if you want to do business in the United States of America, you have to expedite investment, and I have the threat of tariffs. This is still the most prosperous nation on the face of the earth. And if you want to do business here, then you're going to have to make capital investments here. You're going to have to make us happy. Because if y'all got a trade deficit over there, you see what we doing over there to Mexico. You see how I got Canada against the wall. You want to be the next contestant on The Price is Right? They said, nah, we'd rather do business with you and get money with you than to become your adversary. And that's smart.
And I think he will actually make it happen. So anyway, I'm excited to go, and we were discussing, and President Trump said, Masa, double down is not enough. Maybe, go for more, right?
That's what I'm going to ask him right now. Would you make it $200 billion and say he can actually, believe it or not, he can actually afford to do that. Would you do that?
Well, my promise is 100, but he's now asking to do more. I think with your leadership, my partnership with you, with your support, I will try to make it happen.
That's good.
All right.
It's called the art of the deal, baby. It's the art of the deal. He said, hey, listen, I looked at your books. 100 billion is cool, but 200 billion is awesome. And he put him on a spot in real time. Put him on a spot, and he said, listen, I looked at it. I think you can go more. I think he's going to go down as the greatest president in our lifetime, honest to God. I think he's going to go down as the greatest president in our lifetime. I really do. I think that's what's going to happen.
200. He'll make it happen. 200 billion investment.
He is a great negotiator.
Dog, look at how he handling them. Look.
He'll make it happen. 200 billion investment.
He is a great negotiator.
He's a brilliant guy and did an unbelievable job, and the people of Japan and all over the world are very proud of him.
Hey, man, don't be grabbing me by my shoulders like that. Hey, man. Hey, man, I feel like we in prison right now, dog. What you mean? Give you both of my honey buns. Hey, man, hey. You know what I'm saying? You start getting somebody get a little too handsy, a little too strong. I ran into one of y'all. Actually, you know what's so funny? I ran into one of y'all at the show. And somebody said, hey, what's going on? Because, I like to go out and kick it with people and stuff like that. And somebody, I know y'all like firm handshakes, but one of y'all look like y'all have been working out with that thing that they used to sell late night online or whatever like that. And they grabbed my hand and I said, hold on. Tried to squeeze my hand a little bit. I said, okay, I got forearms too. I could figure it out. Tried to grab my hand a look and then bring me close. What's going on, Anton? I said, We were sitting there like this a little bit. All right, okay. You can't be sunning me. You can't do that. You can't be grabbing me by my shoulder, dog.
Unbelievable job, and the people of Japan.
Can't do that.
He is a great negotiator.
No, don't pat me on my back, dog. Don't. That's what you do to the women. You know what I'm saying? After they get done showing you some love and then they walk out the room, you slap them on the butt a couple times. I see you, baby. No, don't. Hey, don't be slapping me on my back now. All right?
He's a brilliant guy and did an unbelievable job, and the people of Japan and all over the world are very proud of him. They have tremendous respect for him. So what he does, what he just did, and I would be surprised if what didn't go to do. When you say you'll try, I know you'll do it.
I will really try. Yeah. And I need your support, though.
You'll have my support.
All right.
You'll have our country's support.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you, Master. Very much.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You want to
Great
say hello
event.
to the people of Japan who are all watching?
Well, I'm sure.
This is a masterclass, and y'all watching it in real time, and I don't even think that y'all can really appreciate it.
Our people in Japan are proud to make the partnership of U.S. and Japan be stronger, and I'm very excited to make this happen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So there you have it. CEO of Softbank just got a little bit manhandled, got grabbed up by his suit and collar, got patted on the back, and told that he need to make that $200 billion investment. He said, I'm going to need your support. He said, you got my support, but I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Oh my God. Great job, President Trump. I'm sorry, President-elect Trump. While the women on The View continue to complain. Let me read a couple of super chats and we'll continue on with the show. Libra Justice says some service people are casualties of friendly fire. Chef 673 says this is part of AI 2.0 and others. Hint, hint. SWAT going up on a Tuesday. Shout out to my dog Chef 673. I appreciate you for holding me down. Let's continue on with the show. So, in addition to that, Eric Adams is visible right now, and they're having conversations about Eric Adams because Trump is saying that he would consider pardoning Eric Adams. Check it out.
Yeah.
Well, would Donald Trump pardon Mayor Eric Adams if convicted?
Interesting question. Well, the president-elect answering it today on the day when Adams got some bad news for his re-election. Pix 7's Eileen LaPalmer has the latest for us from Midtown.
I don't think I should comment.
New Yorkers reacting to President-elect Donald Trump saying he would pardon Mayor Eric Adams if he's convicted.
I think it should be said now, because look at what Trump did. Come on.
Here's how.
Let's rewind that for a second. Let's back up. I want you to see it be your own people.
Good comment.
New Yorkers reacting to President-elect Donald Trump saying he would pardon Mayor Eric Adams if he's convicted.
I think it should be said now, because look at what Trump did. Come on.
Here's how Trump phrased it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I think that he was treated pretty unfairly. Now, I haven't seen the gravity of it all, but it seems, like being upgraded in an airplane many years ago. I know probably everybody here has been upgraded.
The indictment, however, also includes alleged campaign fund corruption. Trump's comments of support coming as the New York City Campaign Finance Board announced Monday that for now it will not give Adams the more than $4 million he requested in matching public funds for his 2025 re-election campaign. They cited the ongoing criminal indictment and his campaign's failure to adhere to the program's rules. Adams' attorney said in part in a statement they're disappointed, but added we will continue to work with the board to address any issues so that funds can be appropriately dispersed.
His ability to raise money to be competitive is really shot.
Susan Kang, associate professor of political science at John Jay School of Criminal Justice, says Adams has been distancing himself from New York City as a sanctuary city, which puts him at a disadvantage to run in the Democratic primary in June, but added,
I think that Eric Adams is trying to signal to President Trump that President Trump has an ally in Eric Adams because he really wants that pardon. I don't think he's thinking about what effect this has on voters.
Another recent development, the federal prosecutor who brought the charges against Adams resigned last week, and the next U.S. attorney will be appointed by Trump. So how did Adams react to the news of the potential pardon?
I got to do my job. And I have an attorney that is going to look at every avenue to ensure I get justice. I did nothing wrong. Should not have been charged. And I just think, God has a way of showing the irony of life.
And Eric Adams.
We're going to get to Eric Adams's reaction to it, because can I please get my credit? Can I please get my credit? Long before this election ever even took place, I said that Eric Adams was going to distance himself from the Biden administration because they had looked at him as a leper. He was going to pivot, basically switch parties without switching parties, work with the Trump administration, be completely different from Brandon Johnson, and then hopefully get a pardon. I laid it out. I laid it out very clearly for you guys. Very clearly, I said that this was going to be the play, that Eric Adams was going to line himself with Trump, that he had been distancing himself away from the Biden administration long ago, and that he was going to eventually get a pardon. It's so much to mine out here, but I said that I was going to throw this back in y'all faces to prove that this is exactly how it was going to play out. That it was going to play out just like this. That he was angling himself and putting himself in a position and ultimately was going to depend on the Republican Party and Trump, which I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. I don't want to hear anything from anybody that says that Trump, A, don't hold down black people, and that B, that he do not seek revenge, but at the same time that he's actually looking forward to working with people. And as long as you work with him, he going to ensure that he work with you. Trump ain't tripping on whether or not you're a Democrat or a Republican. Trump is worried about whether or not you're going to be in the way of him getting stuff done.
In our last conversation, you said that God acts in mysterious ways. Today, the President-elect Donald Trump is willing to review your case, and he said that he's considering to pardon your corruption federal case. Do you think this is a way that God is showing you right now to go?
Listen, sometimes you have to let go and let God. I have been clear on that from day one, being in office, of what my religious belief, and God has navigated my life. I tell people it's GPS. That's my God positioned satellite. I got to do my job. And I have an attorney that is going to look at every avenue to ensure I get justice. I did nothing wrong. Should not have been charged. And I just think, God has a way of showing the irony of life. I'm just saying the same thing that President Biden said. President Biden stated his Justice Department has been politicized. President Trump stated that. I stated that. Family members who find themselves on the FBI list because they're advocating for their family members. And I just started looking at these cases over and over again. No Americans should be going through what I'm going through. And what my attorney decides to do, I'm going to follow the direction of my attorney. And one thing he says, listen, Eric, I know that...
Hey, he got a little bit more bounce in his talk, the way that he's talking, the way his shoulders moving, how enthusiastic he is about talking to the people and having conversation. Eric Adams got a whole new pep in his step. At first, he was making his rounds to the black churches, and he was like, hey, pray for me. Pray for me. Now he got a little bit more pep in his step, because, I told y'all, Biden, he completely throwing the whole Biden administration under the bus. He said, hey, man, I told y'all that the Biden administration was politicizing the offices. I told y'all. Trump told y'all. Me and Trump been lockstep, lock and key, eye to eye, focused on each other. Trump said it. I said it. I'm tired of the Biden administration. Ain't that different? Ain't it different when you win? Everybody kissing the ring now, huh?
You are this guy that wants to fight and constantly defend yourself. I need you to have discipline right now, and I'm going to follow his direction. He's a great attorney, probably one of the best in the country, and he gave me my instruction. I'm going to follow my instructions, and whatever pathway he sees fit, that is what I'm going to do.
How do you feel about him say that?
My attorney would tell you how I feel.
Like he laughing, he giggling, he talking, got that little giggle in his voice. Yeah, my attorney would talk to you though.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Have you had any conversations with the president-elect on the pardon or any
You
other
can't
topic?
say that.
And
He's
would you
addressed
accept
a lot of
it
this.
if offered?
He's addressed a lot of this. Do you have any other questions?
Well,
Only thing we
gonna
talk
get to
about is
Stephen A. in a
improving
minute.
the city that I love, the city that he loves, and the city that the New Yorkers love. That's the only conversation we have, how we improve the city.
spoke to him recently at all?
No, not since the Madison Square Garden.
Any other questions not addressed? Josie?
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
What up,
Good,
Vaughn? I'm
good.
gonna read that shortly.
Trump today said that he would consider a pardon for you. How do you feel about that?
Just ask that.
This is a different question because it's about Trump's comments today.
Uh-huh.
My second question.
Exactly what you wanted to just
No,
ask.
it's not.
It's not?
Okay, my second question is Idala said today that Ingrid's case, he believes, is targeted at her because the investigators want her to flip on you. Do you agree with that sentiment?
The Trump question, see my attorney. The Ingrid question, see her attorney.
Eric playing the game. Did he not play the game? Did he not play it to win? See, Brandon Johnson, he's staying loyal to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I don't know why he's saying. KB says, is he really doing it for a pardon, or is he just annoyed with the current administration, want to actually get things done? Is that even a question? Let me ask you a question. What would you put first, your freedom or your annoyance with whoever it is that you don't like? What would you put first? Because I personally believe that the Biden and Kamala Harris administration was targeting him for not playing ball and not playing into what they felt like was the best thing for their campaign and the Democratic Party at the time. And they made him a leper, and then ultimately they sicked the Justice Department on him. I believe that the priority is freedom, but it doesn't mean that two things can't be true at the same time. He could want to be mayor. He could ultimately be tired of whatever the current administration was, but at the same time, it don't mean that you ain't got to be free first. If you don't think that Eric Adams is going to be playing ball, he meeting with Tom Homan, yeah, we need to get the migrants out of here, whatever, man, I would be doing the same thing. Now he got to focus on trying to win and become the mayor of New York City. Now he has to focus on trying to win and become the mayor of New York City. But I 100% think that he's focused on his freedom first. Ain't nobody trying to be spending their time in jail and be trying to figure out how to get out. Ain't that crazy how everything changed within a month? Hey, remember early November? And now we in December 17th and how everything has changed dramatically? All right, let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to move on with the show. Clay Hart says, AD, what's your advice on investing? And let me save that. I'm going to save that for last because I may be able to speak to that a little bit more extensively. Big Timer 24 says, remind me of those Dallas Cowboys tooting it up to get smacked. Tay T says, this is a China move, partnering with our economy while there's dwindling aids and tremendously long term. Softbank is from Japan, though. I don't know. I don't think I understand what you're saying. Bon Kajor. Shout out to Bon Kajor. That's my girl. I actually ran into her. She pulled up on me at the show on Saturday. It was such a pleasure to meet you. I'm glad that you came. Shout out to your father. You are a phenomenal young lady, and great job taking that advice and getting to that bag like we talked about. Yep, you did. One in late September, I think. Oh, I talked about it in a lot of situations. Mr. Adams jumped ship, and you would too. Bon Kajor says, hello, Mr. Daniels. It was a pleasure meeting you the other day, and I'm holding my dad to his promise of coming to the next meetup. Shout out to your pops. Hopefully you sent them that video too. The mayor got that Denzel lab. Yes, he do. Shout out to Mr. Lotta. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm and subscribe to the channel. Tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. A couple more things that I want to deep dive into before we really get to the thick of things. Early this morning / late yesterday, Chicago passed a roughly $17 billion city budget. I want y'all to know more about it. But before we get into what happened, I want you to know exactly how things was playing out prior to them passing that city budget. And that possible tax hike, I want y'all to know where everything is being allocated. And then we're going to go over to the people's reactions. Check it out.
The Chicago City Council agreed to pass Mayor Brandon Johnson's 4th budget proposal, ending a long and dramatic day at City Hall.
Yeah, the agreement comes just in the nick of time, with the mayor and alders facing an end-of-the-year deadline. Jackie Kostek live at City Hall with what the budget includes, what was left out of it, and also the reaction coming in this morning. Jackie.
Well, Dana and Audrina, good morning to you. It took more than 6 weeks to get it done, but City Council narrowly approved a $17 billion budget that most notably does not include property tax hikes. Now, Mayor Brandon Johnson touted a budget that he says does not cut services or city jobs while sustaining investments in youth employment, mental health, community safety, and affordable housing. But the money has to come from somewhere, so the new budget includes the city cracking down on major sports teams and other venues to reimburse the city for police overtime costs for special events, cuts to middle management, and delaying a debt payment that would save $40 million for now. It also...
So basically what they're doing is they're kicking the can down the road and they're shaking down every other industry inside of Chicago, which obviously is going to create bigger tax problems and is going to stunt growth in the city. Let me say that again for the people in the back. They're shaking down sports teams, which is not required to stay in Chicago. They can go and move to the suburbs. I remember when all of our sports teams was in the suburbs. The Pistons was in Auburn Hills. The Lions was in Pontiac. The Red Wings and the Tigers were the only ones that was in the city. And the reason that the Red Wings and the Tigers was in the city was because the Illages, who owns the Red Wings and the Tigers, they had obviously dealings and holdings with Little Caesars and all of the ballparks inside of the city. But the Pistons was outside of the city, even though they was labeled as Detroit. And the Lions was outside of the city, and they was playing at the Pontiac Silverdome, even though they was labeled in Detroit. And it took great business leaders to ultimately bring them into the city so they could be a part of the tax base and also create a hub, a entertainment hub for people to make more investments, because they then increase the value of their franchises based off of the business activity that was happening within the city. So it's not like these businesses don't have options. You can't keep shaking everybody down. Now, all 4 sports teams are within walking distance to each other. You can literally walk across the street from Comerica Park where the Tigers play. You can walk across the street. I've done vlogs on the street to show you, and be right at Ford Field where the Lions play. And then you can walk right up the street, and then both the Pistons and the Red Wings play at Little Caesars Arena. It's always best for the city when you create an economic space where everybody can thrive and you're not fleecing people. So they basically rob Peter to pay Paul. They kick the can down the road on a debt payment, which whoever the next incoming mayor and the city council and the aldermen are going to have to deal with that, which means it's going to be even more pain later on. You can't guarantee the revenues that you're anticipating in order to prevent the tax proposal, in order to prevent people from paying a higher property tax. And this administration is just completely incompetent. Completely incompetent.
Includes extra fees, taxes, and red light cameras.
My problem with this budget is that it was really balanced on the backs of hardworking families here in Chicago. Most of that property tax increase was replaced with fees. that we're going to see right away.
We're facing challenges from the state, the county, and the city. And so, again, now we get a chance to see all three legs of government work together, state, county, and the city.
This is the dumbest administration ever.
The Illinois Retail Merchants Association is slamming the new budget, in particular the increased plastic bag tax and reduced credit for retailers. The group says additional burdens like this make Chicago increasingly unattractive to retailers and could push them to the suburbs. Now, the alder people who oppose the budget say it simply kicks the can down the road and will likely mean even bigger tax hikes in the future.
So if you live in Chicago, not only did they do it incompetent, because what they should have did was lowered their spending to pre-pandemic levels or even lower than that, embrace technology and start to have natural attrition. You don't even have to lay people off, but let natural attrition, meaning that people that leave the company, people that get better jobs, people that retire, give retirement incentives for people to be able to get out of there. And then you merge different departments or you sell off buildings and you create a bigger tax base while at the same time keeping property taxes low, maybe even lowering them to incentivize more people to move into the city, which would then increase revenues and have more economic activity inside of the city. But instead of doing that, instead of leaning on natural attrition and technology and lower spending and then going in and auditing where it is that you can cut the amount of money that you're spending on things unnecessarily, like that $400,000 that's going to the vice mayor's office to do all of these stupid activities. Instead of looking for sponsorships from other companies that do better and then give them incentives to be able to invest more inside of the city to bring more jobs, instead of working a little bit harder and dedicating yourself to the people of Chicago, what they did was they kicked the can down the road, continuing to fleece business owners, which is going to increase the cost of living for the people inside of Chicago. And it didn't actually solve for the problems that they wanted to. And they're going to have an even worse budget deficit further into the future, while at the same time still funding the migrant crisis. But the people wasn't happy about it, right? The people was not excited about everything that was going on, obviously. And this is what they were doing in that city council meeting before they kicked everybody out.
So it has already been determined that you don't follow the United States Constitution. And maybe that's perhaps because you're not a founding father and your name is not on the document. So perhaps if we show you something that your name is on, maybe you'll follow those rules. We got a rules of order and procedure, City Council, City of Chicago, for 2023 to 2027, with your name on it. However, we sit in here all the time and watch you violate our rights. Right. We sit in here all the time and watch you allow City Council to violate our rights. Now, we're going to talk about this budget, about the strange things that's happening. Because, again, your name was on this executive order of May 2023, this executive order for immigration, migrants, and refugee rights. You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants, not Harold Washington. You gonna be held accountable for it. And we want a forensic audit of the money that was spent on illegal immigration. You all are trying to do everything but that. When in fact, that's where all the money went. So anything that you all pass is not genuine. It's not honest. Because you're trying to cover up where our money actually went.
I agree.
Now, it's been some strange voting going on.
I agree. I don't see anything wrong with what she just communicated. Why is there not a forensic audit on where this money is going as far as funding this migrant crisis? People need to be held accountable. I said it a long time ago that it wasn't just going to be Kamala Harris and Joe Biden that was going to pay in this election for what it is that they did with this migrant crisis, that all of these sanctuary cities was going to have to come to the front of the congregation. Chicago, you first. Chicago, you first. And when I was going through all of the numbers and looking at the hundreds of millions, even up to $1 billion that they spent on the migrant crisis, yet they sitting here talking about city budget, raising taxes, fleecing sports teams, raising bag taxes, services, streaming services, possibly even raising up property taxes in the future. That's BS. That's all trash.
Let's talk about the fact that Taliaferro and Lopez, Sergio Lopez, got extra money. Could it be because Byron Sergio Lopez wrote a letter on my behalf to help with my case, and so did Taliaferro? Could it be that they were told that they could get more votes if they blew my case? Whoa. Now, let's look at Alderman David Moore, who have been in here and listened to me talk about my probate all the time and haven't done anything. Could it be he planning a seminar with Lori and them, while at the same time selling me out? Because he's supposed to be getting a field house for his ward. We got something for you. Fridays, famous Friday, and we got another one. This is Chicago Flip Red. Chicago Red got you too. You got Chicago Red and you got Chicago Flip Red, and both of us getting that. So now, who's gonna be famous Friday? Pull this name real fast. Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Yeah!
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired.
They're not messing around.
Our next speaker is Sharon Abbott.
Every single speaker got a red hat on. They want Chicago to go Republican bad.
Brandon Johnson, first of all, I hate to break your heart. I didn't vote for you. I'm a lifelong conservative. Nevertheless, your job is to represent all of the people of Chicago and not your own personal interests. On May 15, 2020, you took your oath of office and solemnly swore to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you would faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor to the best of your ability.
Don't you know that he didn't care nothing about that oath that he was taking, that he was just so happy to get into office because y'all voted him in, and he didn't know that he could win, but he won because Chicago, in a general sense, was running in the Victim Olympics and they was doing identity politics, and they didn't even realize that getting Lori Lightfoot out but getting Brandon Johnson in was going to be worse for the city. He wasn't thinking about no oath or constitution or what he was taking. Man, he was smiling ear to ear just saying yes before he even heard what they were saying. He wasn't thinking about none of that crap.
The U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, states that the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of these against invasion. The preamble of the U.S. Constitution states that we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense. Likewise, the Illinois Constitution reiterates that the people formed our government with its primary role being to ensure domestic tranquility and provide for the common defense. Brandon Johnson, you violated your oath of office. You have not supported the U.S. Constitution nor the Illinois Constitution. You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion nor ensured domestic tranquility. You have also ignored the Declaration of Independence, which declares that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. No one appointed a monarch to rule over the people of Chicago. Rather, as mayor, your duty is to serve the public, and you are bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people. Members of City Council, you likewise took an oath of office to support the U.S. and Illinois Constitution. You are also bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is David Mason.
David ain't getting no applause. He must be a regular person. Or maybe he ain't.
We have to remember history, because the number one thing that we know for certain is that history always repeats itself. So, Mr. Johnson, I know that you can appreciate with me giving you a history lesson with you being a former social studies teacher from Elgin. Well,
he taught social studies. Brandon Johnson taught social studies. Jesus Christ. Lord be offense.
you plan on going back to the classroom anyway. That was the whole purpose with you taking a leave of absence, right? Well, besides the mental reason. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that out loud. But let's go ahead and talk about history repeating itself. Let's talk about taxation. Chicago has a tax for everything. Water tax, grocery tax, tourist tax, hotel tax, bag tax, liquor tax, cigarette tax, the highest sales tax in the country by far, parking tax, surcharge of downtown parking, property lease tax, and streaming tax. The only thing
that's ridiculous. That's honest to God ridiculous. That is, in my opinion, absolutely, positively ridiculous. That is ridiculous. It is no reason why you should have a breathe tax, walk tax, floor tax, sleep tax, open your eyes tax. I can't even keep up with all of the taxes that they basically saying. I can't keep up with all of them taxes. That is ridiculous. Did y'all hear all of that? Taxing y'all to death. They're going to tax y'all to sleep, and then they're going to wake y'all up and tax y'all to death. That's insane.
That you all don't have a tax for yet is oxygen tax. And the only reason why you don't have a tax for that just yet is because you ain't figured out how to do it yet. But let me not speak too soon, because you probably might actually think it's a good idea, and you're going to try to write it down. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's not forget about the good old sugar tax. Y'all remember y'all used to back in 2016, and you go to your favorite grocery store and you buy your favorite 24-pack of pop? Well, you paying more taxes on that pop than what the actual cost of it is. What you didn't know is that your buddy Brandon Johnson voted for that sugar tax. So it's not a surprise that he wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt than what we already are with the $1.2 billion deficit. But it's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals. Also, it's lazy government is what you call it. So let's not forget that we got to watch these politics. And I was at that Board of Czar meeting. And Tom Homan said out of his mouth that it is illegal to harbor and conceal illegal aliens. So like I told you before, that you ain't gonna blink when we ain't gonna flinch either. Now, I'm gonna tell you another thing. All you illegals, you ain't gonna have no Merry Christmas. You're gonna have a Merry Deportation Christmas.
They mad in Chicago, and justifiably so. I can understand why they mad, but Chicago did pass their budget. They did not give a piss about y'all. They are still going to raise even more taxes on all of the services that y'all use every single day, and then y'all gonna be complaining and saying that the cost of living is too high. Well, your legislators. Thank a union member and thank a legislator, all right? Let me read this super chat, and then we're going to continue on with the show. I got one more thing that I want to go over. Stephen A. Smith. Clay Hart says, AD, what's your advice on investing in IUL? I think that's something insurance. Something, IUL is some life insurance. Hold on, let me look up what the name of it is. Give me a second. Indexed universal life insurance. All right, my general rule of thumb, my personal rule of thumb. Now, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I'm saying that my general rule of thumb is that I do not believe in investing looking at life insurance as an investment. I believe at looking at life insurance as a way to protect your family if anything was to ever happen to you. I know that there's people out here that say, oh man, you can use life insurance, take from it, invest in it. It gains at the same rate as stocks and this and that, so on and so forth, depending on whatever it is, the type of insurance that you get. Me personally, I do not believe in using life insurance as an investment. I believe in leveraging life insurance as a way to bury you and ensure that your family is not poor and destitute if anything was to ever happen to you. All right. So I'm not telling you that you should or you shouldn't do it. I'm saying that I am not an advocate for it. I believe in all of the traditional methods of investing, long term stocks, investing in ETFs and index funds and mutual funds, and doing your research and going in a stock club and getting a better education, while at the same time getting better earning potential, sheltering your assets through real estate and all of the traditional ways. I'm old school. And then throwing a little bit of cryptocurrency in there. I'm old school for long-term investment. I'm old school. I don't step outside of the traditional ways in which I think that people should invest their money in and protect themselves. So that's just me personally. Again, I think that it's a lot of people that try to figure it out and go back and forth and all of that. That's what I recommend, Clay Hart. That's what I recommend. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm saying that it's not something that I use as a vehicle or what I recommend to other people as far as what they should invest in. All right. So, yep. I do not believe in finessing the system. I don't believe in doing all of this. I don't. I just believe in a traditional way of stacking your money, beating the rate of inflation, making smart investments, thinking long term, investing in yourself, and lowering your lifestyle, and then letting your assets pay for your fun and your activities, and ensuring that your kids has the ability to go to college without having to worry about student loans. So I am. Y'all know me. I am traditional. I just do it. I'm so old school in that way. I'm not gonna tell y'all to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. So I'm a little different. All right. So let's get into Stephen A. Smith. Let's get into Stephen. Oh, let me get into this one real quick. Show Me Trees says, Anton, a bigger issue is illegals. The illegals are fleeing to sanctuary cities. There are hundreds of cars full of illegals right around St. Louis with Colorado and Illinois temp tags. They're everywhere. Well, let's hope that our federal government and Trump can get them on up out of there and get them deported. Solomon Cannon says, what crypto exchange do you use to buy crypto and store it? Well, I used to use, let me see what it was called. It was called, it was an alternative trading platform. I forgot what it was called. But now I have somebody that is telling me that I need my own wallet, that I need my own secure wallet, because they don't actually own any of the currency itself, and that I needed my own wallet. So temporarily, I am currently using Fidelity. So Fidelity allows for, you can actually go in and get a Fidelity account that allows for you to trade crypto, but I also want my own secure wallet, my own physical secure wallet. So I'm doing a little bit more research before I start recommending it to people. You can actually go on Fidelity, and I hate recommending Fidelity because it's not like they paying me, but you can actually go on Fidelity and create a crypto trading account, and then long term, I plan on having my own physical wallet to store my own cryptocurrency. So, yep, Coinbase. It was Coinbase. I used to use Coinbase. Thank you, everybody, for pointing that out. I used to use Coinbase. Now I use Fidelity, and I plan on getting my own wallet. So that's what I'm going to get into. All right, y'all. That's a great question. Shout out to Solomon Cannon. I appreciate you for that. And then the more I learn about it, the more I'm going to wind up sharing with y'all. But I got to fully understand it, and I got to fully be invested in it before I started recommending it to everybody else. All right? All right. Let's continue to go into it. I don't do Coinbase no more. I divested out of Coinbase. I want to talk about this last thing, and it's Stephen A. Smith. What did I say? The year of 2024, December month specifically, is the year of me bringing y'all back to the front of the congregation and saying that I told you so. I said that Stephen A. Smith, even during the election, wants to be Republican. He's just not sure what the backlash is going to be from the people. I have not seen this video yet, but I seen the title of it, and I said, well, let's just have this at the end of the show, and let's have a conversation about it, all right? But I've been saying that Stephen A. Smith wanted to turn Republican, and he keep on acting like he don't really believe in the values of it. He been trying to work his way over to the Republican Party. And I think that the problem with that is not that we're not going to accept everybody coming into the party. I think that the problem with it, I agree, KB. That's why I'm looking to get into my own wallet. I think that the problem with it is that now they want a bandwagon. It's the popular thing to do to say that you're a MAGA fan or that you're a part of the Republican Party. I just wish these people would have said that they wanted to be a part of the party before it was all popular for everybody to act like they was part of the party. You know what I'm saying? Just say that this is what you wanted to do and stand on it. Now everybody want to openly say, you know what? I don't like what the Democrats is doing. This is not the party of the people. Just admit it. Just own it. Let's get into it, man.
Now let's move on to some politics and social media where some of you, no surprises, you're just continuing to piss me off. Why? Because every time I make a comment that's critical of the Democratic Party or the left, I get accused of being a pundit for the right. Prior to the election cycle, I voiced my concerns about Joe Biden and his ability to serve as second term as president. Then Biden stepped on the debate stage in late June and revealed what many suspected. He embarrassed himself. The White House and the Democrats eventually switched to Vice President Kamala Harris when he stepped away, who ultimately ran what some would say a valiant presidential campaign, at least in the eyes of some, that ultimately fell short with voters across the country. I pointed out my concerns with the campaign and the Democratic Party along the way, and many of you wanted to accuse me of being a voice for the right. So you know what? I feel like it's time to set the record straight because ain't nobody hiding, ain't nobody running. Okay? Let me be very, very clear. I'm a registered independent because I don't trust either side.
Lies, lies, lies. Lies, lies, lies. And this is the first thing that I got to call out. I'm reacting to this in real time, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. Lies. You know why I always say? I hate when people say I'm a registered independent. You know why? Because usually registered independent is usually people that vote for the Democratic Party. They've never voted Republican, but they don't want to just own it and say, you know what? I'm a straight up Democrat. I'm a straight up Democrat. I've never voted Republican before in my entire life. I've always voted liberal, but I'm a registered independent. What does that mean, man? You're a Democrat. Just say it. You've been voting Democrat your entire life.
I think both sides are full of it on so many levels and so many circumstances. It's nauseating. But I also want to take a moment because a lot of people out there on social media have been saying to me, here, Stephen A., you take these positions, you're frustrated with the Democratic Party, but then you voted for Kamala Harris against Trump. Why?
You've been watching my videos.
I believe that Donald Trump has been a divisive figure.
Lies.
And I was thinking coming into this election that the last thing we needed was 4 more years of what we saw the last time, where there was so much strife and so much division that even though the economy clearly was doing well under his watch before COVID struck, it was just too much for the country to take. I was fearful of civil war in this country.
Cap.
It wasn't so much that
I'm going to call this BS out as I see it. Cap. Cap, Capalicious, Captain Crunch, Captain Jack Sparrow, Cap. Just all cap. This is all lies. Nobody thought it was going to be no civil war in the United States of America. Shut that up, man. Get that out of here, bro.
Supportive.
Nobody was worried.
White supremacist, and he was this racist and all of this stuff like people were saying. I didn't engage in that incendiary rhetoric because I've always believed that Donald Trump was just somebody who did things that were politically expedient. If supporting one side was going to generate votes for him, he would flow with it. And if it was not going to support his cause, he wasn't. It's just simple. It's just that simple. Why did I say that? And why did I refrain from that incendiary rhetoric that was thrown in his direction? It was because I knew Donald Trump before he ran for president. And black, whites,
and
male,
switched
females,
up on
and
him like
everybody else got along with him great.
You switched up on him like everybody
So for all of a sudden, everybody to stand up and act like he was this pariah was BS. But I was also acknowledging he didn't help his own cause. From the moment in 2015,
if you knew who Donald Trump was and you was friends with him, then that means that you a snake like everybody else and you switched up. Call it what it is. You switched up on everybody, bro. I don't know, man. I'm so likely to turn this off. I don't even want to hear this. I might just do a separate video for the Anton Daniels channel. Cap!
stroll down those escalators with Melania, the man offended 50% of the population back then in 2015.
How?
Came across as xenophobic in the eyes of many.
How did he offend anybody?
It just seemed to go downhill from there. So after he served his 4 years in the White House, I didn't want to repeat all of that. But I didn't call him a racist. I didn't compare him to Nazis.
You hedged your bets. You hedged
I didn't
your
sit
bet.
up there and accuse him of
Left the door
befriending
open
white
for you to come on
supremacists
back
and all
on.
of
Just
that
come
stuff.
on over.
Because
Stop
I knew no
making
matter
excuses.
what people believed, they were trying to politicize it. So when I thought about him against Kamala Harris, I said, excuse me, let me make sure Republicans are in the House and the Senate. You have somebody that's going to work with both sides in the White House, and we'll have peace domestically. That's what I was thinking. But under no circumstances was I this raving supporter of Kamala Harris. I saw her during the primaries in 2020.
Ooh! Woo! Whoa! 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 Oh my God.
20. I saw that she couldn't get to Iowa. I saw her comments about transgenders, particularly those in prison that wanted sex changes. I saw how incoherent she appeared in communicating what her objective would be when it came to the economy. I know for a fact that she was supposed to oversee the issues involving the border. Yes, like Roland Martin said, she wasn't the quote-unquote border czar, but she was perceived as such. I also saw her go on The View and categorically deny that there was any need to change anything that Biden had done, even though over 12 million people crossed the border illegally, and you were acting like there was no border.
Yo, this is he late to the party. You having conversations that we done already had, all in July, all in August, all in September, all in October, and all in November. Listen, don't sit here and make a case of why you shouldn't have voted for it, but you voted for. Man, shut this up, bro. What are we talking about?
Border crisis. I saw the duplicitous sentences. I saw the inconsistencies. I also saw the hypocrisy. And as the election came about and ultimately unfolded, and I saw Donald Trump win convincingly. No, he did not get 50% of the.
He not saying why he voted for it. He's saying what he noticed and that he did, what he ignored, and he still voted for it.
Popular vote, as the Democrats are so quick to point out. My attitude to them is shut the hell up. Nobody wants to hear that now. Who cares whether he got 50% of the vote or not? He beat you in the popular vote and the electoral college vote.
Yes, he
swept
voted
the
for
swing
it.
states.
He voted for it, Jody. He
improved his numbers in every demographic imaginable. Blacks, Hispanics, women. He beat you. And the American people spoke, and they spoke flagrantly. And from that moment forward, I'm like, damn all of that. We're going to support the fact that he won the presidency. And I'm going to tell you where I'm at with it. And that doesn't mean I'm going to become some registered Republican, because I still find them a bit shaky. But when I see Attorney Bragg in New York trying to convince the judge and the courts to treat Donald Trump as if he's deceased, as if he has died, just to make sure that your convictions on those 34 felony accounts remains a part of the record, it just shows another level of patheticness, if that is such a word, that creeps in.
It's not a word. I don't think. I'm going to look this up. I'm going to look up patheticness while he's talking. Give me a second.
Again, you can't let it go.
I'm pretty sure that's not a word, though.
He is the president-elect of the United States of America. In January 20th, he is going to be the president of the United States.
I guess it is a word.
You want to sit up here and waste taxpayer dollars.
Patheticness is a word. I was wrong.
And literally go before the courts.
Patheticness is a word.
To do everything you can to make his conviction a matter of record, knowing he ain't going to get any jail time. You're not going to be able to incarcerate him. You're not going to be able to fine him. Sir, it's over. It's over. Democrats, it's over. It's over. I'm going to say this before and I'll say it again. You know what I would do if I were Joe Biden, President Joe Biden? Especially since I basically gave the Democratic Party the finger because you kept saying, we follow the rule of law, we follow the rule of law, we follow the rule of law. And then you went and you circumvented all of that to get to pardon your son Hunter. Since you were willing to do that, if I was President Joe Biden, I would pardon Donald Trump.
Let me go ahead and read the rest of the super chats. I'm not doing this. I'm not about to do this. I'm not even about to waste my time sitting here going back and forth. I'll do a more extensive breakdown on Anton Daniels' channel, and I'll release it today. Because I just don't. I need to take a break, and I just need a minute. I'm not doing this right now. This is so corny. This is so corny. I know Stephen A is trying to broaden his horizons and his scope of the things that he's talking about in order to continue to expand his platform. And kudos to him for that. But this is nonsense. This fence sitting, this, oh man, I'm on the fence about this. I'm on the fence about that. I never liked her in the first place. I'm a registered independent. Shut that down, bro. Jay Hunter Lee says Stephen A been leaning right. He ain't. He just being fake about it. Now he's using the left's behavior as an excuse to eventually be right. This is what Jason Whitlock has been talking about with him. And Jason Whitlock is right about that, if that's what he's been saying. Ray Vaughn says, I'm a registered independent and have voted both ways. Shout out to you, Ray Vaughn. Chef 673 says, I agree as Cap, Antifa, Proud Boys, and KKK and other groups like that did what they did during Trump's first presidential service were not Republicans. They were formed from within the Dem Party. Check the history. Chef 673 says, my sentiment is the Democratic Party will send him out to cause chaos again after he is sworn in. His hairline goes back more than Jesus. Chris Monroe says, still to this day, I cannot find one reason to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Stephen A knows voting for losers is wild as F. AD, how would you invest $50,000? I would pay off all of my debt first, and then I would invest the rest of it into SPY temporarily until I could actually figure out where to divert the majority of it is, and then I would go back to school, get re-educated, go into a field that can generate me more money, and then dollar cost average my investments long-term as far as allocating money over into my stocks and my portfolio. Then I would create an account that allowed for me to be able to draw from it and then make bigger investments in the real estate. That's how I would spend $50,000. I would pay off all of my debt first. I would get rid of the debt because it's much harder to climb the mountain when you got rocks in your backpack. All right. Happy Girl says he wants to go to Mar-a-Lago and talk to Trump. I wouldn't doubt it. Well, Trump might not invite him because Stephen A said that he was cool with him before, and now he being a traitor. Come on, man. Come on, bro. I don't mind y'all coming on over to the winning party. Just act like just admit that you wasn't a part of the winning party before we voted for Trump to become, the 47th president of the United States of America. That's all I'm saying. Be consistent. That's all we saying. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. After hours is tonight. Let's run it up. Let's take care of business. We back on the Millionaire Morning Show. Remember, by the start of the year, we are consistently going to be. Actually, you know what? Let me make a couple more announcements. First of all, y'all need to be a part of the Patreon. Secondly, if you've been here more than once, you should be subscribed to the channel, and you should have already hit a like for the algorithm. First through the third, which is a Wednesday, I believe, through Friday. I do stream on New Year's Day. I'm still going to be live streaming. That's going to be the first day I'm hopefully in the new studio. But first to the third, we're going back to 9 a.m. Eastern, and then you got to adjust for your time zone. On the 4th, I think I'm going to be in Las Vegas for CES. 4th, 5th is a Sunday. The 6th is a Monday. I'll be doing a show from Las Vegas. It's still going to be the same time. 7th, I'm going to be doing a show from Las Vegas. The 8th, I'm going to be back in the studio, all right? So we're going to do a little mini test run the week of New Year's in the studio. We're going to be in Vegas for CES. I'm going to be recording CES and capturing at all the unveilings. And then we're going to be back in the studio that Wednesday, that following Wednesday. All right? So just giving y'all an update. Obviously, I'm going to keep y'all up to date closer to the dates. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully, you guys continue to run it up. I put my woke beanie on, and we're going to get it popping. I will be letting y'all know what's going on with the next meetups and everything. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Stay safe. I'm going to see y'all on After Hours tonight. Clay Hart says, can you share more on SPY? Y'all trying to get me to give y'all all of the Patreon game. SPY is basically following the S&P 500. And I think it's one of the safest bets and the safest plays to keep your money in until you learn more about individual stocks and why we look for the 8 things that we invest in before we invest in a company. All right. So SPY is basically following the S&P 500, and you pretty much can't go wrong long term. You'll always be able to be successful. If you just wanted to leave your money in SPY, I think that you would be great. So, yep, I put all of my money in SPY and let it run up, and that's what we do. All right. So, anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.